I've been practicing at our dojo for almost a decade now. I'm a senior black belt, and I have watched my kids grow up in the dojo. My daughter started when she was just 6. She's 16 now. And my son, who's back there, Flynn, he started when he was almost 3, and he's now 12. He'll be 13 pretty soon. And they're both certified black belts, and Flynn's on his way to being a black belt leader. And I can tell you, some of the young kids, I remember when Flynn got up and got to do the student creed, how that just makes you feel proud when they get up and they have the courage to do that. But you all are at a great stage. All of you are at a great stage in your practice. You're not beginners anymore. You don't feel as awkward as you did when you first started. I remember, the yellow belt, orange belt uncomfortableness. But then by the time you move to intermediate, you really are at the point where you're starting to feel more confident in your physical practice. This was the point that I remember when I stopped asking people at work to randomly choke me. I finally stopped asking them. And then they took me a little bit more seriously again. But it's not only a point where you start to feel more confident in your physical abilities, your foundational practice, but as parents, do we have any Krav parents out there? I know we have some, but Krav parents, all right, high five. Yay, Krav parents. It was also at a point that I remember some of the leadership lessons that Grandmaster has so masterfully woven into our curriculum that I started to, really understand those lessons, because now I'm living them. I'm living proof of some of our favorite lessons, and my kids are living proof of those lessons. So now they have that context, so that when something happens in school, something challenging happens with friends, I can refer back to the lessons they've learned in the dojo, and it's really starting to be more impactful for them. And I love those little moments that you get to reiterate those lessons. And I just had one actually kind of recently, and this is a silly story, but I'm going to tell you it anyway. I was actually just on a cruise with my sister celebrating her 50th birthday, and we're there with her son. Her son's 17. He's an athletic kid. He's a soccer player. He plays on the high school soccer team. And we're all in the arcade. And we're in the arcade, and he spots, the 17-year-old spots the game. The game where the punching bag comes down? And if you punch it really hard and really accurately, you get higher points, right? So he decides he's going to challenge my 12-year-old to the game. Thinking, I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm older, no problem. Flynn's always up for a challenge. Always up for a challenge, and what has he got to lose? He's 12. So what if a 17-year-old can punch harder than him, right? So my nephew goes up first. He punches it really hard, gets a high score, and then Flynn comes up. Flynn punches it. He gets 887. He made me say the score. He got 887, which was 100 points more than his cousin. So parents in the room, I think, and Krav parents, you're probably thinking, what leadership lesson did I need to give in that moment that helped the bruised ego of the 17-year-old? I had to give the leadership lesson of the law of the process. Flynn has been punching since he's been 3 years old, and not just punching like this. He's been under the expert guidance of his sensei and grandmaster that have told him exactly how he needs to throw that punch so that his 115 pounds is fully behind that punch, and he's exploding that target. So, it's one of those silly moments that it did help in the moment, help my nephew feel a little bit better about losing to his 12-year-old cousin, but it also, those silly moments are great. I'm grateful for those silly little moments that you can reinforce some of these stories. So, but in all seriousness, what we're giving our children in this practice is that evidence that practice, dedicated practice over time leads to higher achievement. We're in a world today that everything is instant gratification. Now we're being told you don't even have to think. We've got AI to do it for us. You don't have to wait for anything. You could have it delivered to you that day or the next. So the lessons we're giving them, that if you work at something hard enough, long enough, stay dedicated to it, you are going to achieve more. And what a great gift that really is for them. So I definitely encourage you, to make sure you're coming to class, you're sticking it out, because it will pay off. And I can tell you, you all are at a great moment in your training. You're at this moment where, you're still learning, but you're feeling more confident, but there's a whole extra world out there that you still get to discover. So I'm going to encourage you to keep discovering that, because no matter what, you're not going to forget Krav Maga. You've been here long enough. No matter how long you look back, you look back at your time here, you're going to remember Krav. But you have one of two ways to remember it. You can remember it where, oh yeah, I went to this place, got sweaty, I learned some self-defense all right, but I wonder what would have happened if I got my black belt. Or you can look back at your time at Krav Maga and remember the smiling faces when you're partnering with them. I love partnering with my kids. They just get so excited when we partner together. Flynn does now too, because he's been hitting harder than me, so he enjoys it. But also Krav camps. If you haven't been to Krav camps, they are an amazing experience. You get so much in one day of learning, and then you get to meet the broader Krav community. You get to be with your cohort every class, but at something like a Krav camp, you get to meet people from the spectrum of Krav. And we have a great community here, another reason why I've been here 10 years. But you'll also remember your black belt retreat, and what a great experience that is. You'll remember the campfire stories, the jokes that were told. And you'll remember, I think, one of my biggest memories is the point in time after your black belt test, and how hard it was, how draining it was, that Grandmaster says, it's now time to do the end of class student creed. After your black belt test, you're exhausted, but now you get to go from this to this. You get to see your sensei do it, but I can tell you that this is the moment that signifies all the choices you have made to be there. The choice being here at graduation, the next graduation. It signifies such an achievement that I can tell you it's on par with that coveted college acceptance letter, or passing the CPA exam, or the bar, or, your boards. That's the level of achievement you feel in that moment. So trust me, you have two choices. Which choice do you want to make? It's going to be this one. So I look forward to seeing you at the next graduation and the next, and then cheering you on at your black belt test. Thank you.